Welcome to the Hear It From Harlan podcast. I'm your host, Bill Riley. Director of Utah Athletics Mark Harlan takes us behind the scenes with exclusive interviews with student athletes, discusses the state of collegiate athletics, and all things Utah. Now, let's hear it from Harlan. Welcome into another edition of the Hear It From Harlan podcast. We've got a lot to talk about on this last part of October, heading into November in 2025. Bill Riley, I'm with you, play-by-play voice of the University of Utah, and the man whose name is on the marquee here, the Director of Athletics here at the University of Utah, Mark Harlan. As we've got a busy weekend coming up here in Salt Lake City. Game day coming to town, huge football game coming to town, soccer and volleyball in action. Cross country is across the country in Lawrence, Kansas at Big 12 matchups, championships this weekend, and golf just wrapped up their fall season. Plus basketball's around the corner. Terrence Brown's going to stop by to talk to us today on the podcast. Do we have enough time to do all this, Mark?
Boy, that's a lot. You know, I kind of look at my schedule day by day so I don't get overwhelmed. But when you just read that off, I'm like, am I going to be able to beat it, all that stuff? But no, this is the awesome time of year when our fall sports are getting to that moment in their season, combined with the excitement of our winter sports getting started. So it's just a great time of year.
Well, what I can't believe is that we're almost into November. I mean, we're sitting here taping at the end of October. It feels like just the other day we were here in August getting ready for the seasons to start, right?
Yeah, it just the fall always flies, and then I think the spring flies too. But it feels like the fall is just a constant deal of excitement and also in this era, Bill, just really getting to know all the new athletes that have come in. It takes some time, but once you get to that place, it just becomes a really great place because there's just so many new people here that are really, really, really fun to be around.
I think you're going to enjoy your conversation with Terrence Brown. I've gotten to know him over the summer and early fall. He's just a great kid who is genuinely excited to be here and be part of this Utah community.
Yeah, he's great. And I think anyone that was able to come and watch the Nevada game saw his energy on the court. Well, it's infectious off the court, too. Great leader. Really, really glad he's here.
We'll get to TB coming up, and Mark will sit down with him in a few minutes. But speaking of excitement, football season heading to the home stretch of the month of November, but we've got a game coming up this Saturday against the University of Cincinnati, which we'll get to. But to add to that excitement, a big game begins with a big game day. Our friends from ESPN are rolling into town with that traveling circus and concert and rock star-like setup that they have with College GameDay for a sixth time coming to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, it was really exciting to get that call. And I guess if I was to be honest, I usually don't sleep in. I try to get up and go, but Sunday morning, I think like many of us, so I slept in maybe till 9. I get up and I have 8 missed calls from the commissioner. And I think PK, you were on there, and so it just goes to show what happens if you sleep past 8. But I called back the commissioner. He said, "I'm so excited. You guys are going to be hosting game day. Just need your official acceptance." Yes. And it's interesting. This is the first time they've come to Big 12, school in 3 years, and so it was a great moment, not only for Utah, certainly for Cincinnati, but also, for the league to have them come back. We know what it's like here. They bring tremendous amount of attention to not only our football program, but our university and certainly our city and state.
Take us behind the scenes on how that works. I mean, generally, do you have an idea they're coming to town? Do they give you a little heads up? I'm guessing they're picking 3 or 4 schools they could potentially go to based on Saturday, how Saturday plays out.
They tend. What happens is they tend to work with the conference office, and they will tell a conference, they'll say, hey, listen, there's a probability. And they try to do that a couple weeks in advance. There's a probability. I can remember with the Oregon game, we had the probability. And then Fox picked that game a few years ago, and I thought they weren't going to come, but they viewed that as the top game, and they came, to their credit. This time it was a situation where they really wanted to feature the Big 12, and they really felt that our game, particularly the way we played against Colorado, that's direct that I've heard, and Cincinnati's a really good story. I mean, they're just really good. They're an exciting team to watch, and I think the combination of those really good stories in a university where they've come before, they get great treatment here. We have great partnership when they're here, and our fans just show up. So that's what happened. We had a little bit of I will admit, just not as much as we've had in the past, but I got a call during the game late in the fourth quarter that said, it looks like you guys got selected for the night game, which they told us we weren't. And for all the fans that have been emailing, it's just a situation. Certain people win, certain people lose, and ESPN wanted to show us. And then game day, they decided to come. So it all works out. But I will say to our fans, having 3 straight night games is never our first choice. We know that the football players seem to want that because our winning percentage is very high at night. But I do want to apologize to those that I know it's difficult, but we're excited. Going dark mode, going to have game day early in the morning. It's going to be a great day.
I would say that, by the way, I know people, it's not always the 3 straight, but there is something about the atmosphere at a night game at Rice-Eccles Stadium. It's always a great atmosphere, but those night games, especially when we do dark mode game, there's some, like, the players all talk about it. You could feel it last Saturday night with Colorado in. There was a hype and a vibe and an energy about that game.
Totally agree. And, I remember through the years here talking to our players about it. They can't figure out the exact thing to say on the why. It's just that when they come in for warm-up, and then especially when they come out of the tunnel, they feel different. Our fans sound different. They're louder. They're more engaged. They're more leaning in. Maybe it's because they've been waiting all day to play. So, I think probably if Whit had his choice, we'd play at 7 a.m. so we can get up and play and then get ready for the next game. But I think even he would say that the excitement and, that our student section and our fans. So really, really grateful. We're going to need them again this week, and we got a lot of stuff going on.
I would tell people, too, with relation to game day, if you have a chance on Thursday and Friday when they begin to roll into town, if you've never – a lot of people see the finished product on Saturday morning or you watch it on TV. It is amazing to see, and it's a well-oiled machine. They've been doing it for years. There are multiple semis roll into town. If you have a chance Thursday and Friday to roll over to President's Circle to watch them set that up, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is a massive show. It is a massive production. A lot of the same producers were here 3 years ago, and a lot of our staff. So it's been really a great week of just what worked well last time, let's do that. What do we want to change? Let's do that. But you're right, seeing those trucks roll in is a pretty exciting thing. And I think, Bill, you've got more direct information, but they'll also be taping some shows on Friday there. We won't have Pat McAfee taping his show like he did last time. I think I heard he's going to trick-or-treat with his kids, so he's a good dad along with a good but he'll be out here for the show early Saturday morning, but it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Friday afternoon from about 1 o'clock to 1:30 up at President's Circle, and that's where everything sets up is President's Circle. They'll be taping college football live, which is interesting, going with college football live. So you can go out and watch that on Friday afternoon. The show begins at 7 a.m. Saturday morning, but we all know if you want to really get a front row seat and a look at that show, you're going to have to get there pretty darn early or late, depending on what your time frame is. All the information on how to set up, when you can get in, where you can park, all of that stuff. Go to UtahUtes.com. There's a full slide story right on the front page at UtahUtes.com that will give you all the information on game day, everything going on around game day, how to get in, where to park, all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you referencing that because there really is something. Some people want to get there really early. Some people might want to get to the second half of the show. There's something for everybody if you go on and take a look at it. We'll have some surprises that we're working with ESPN throughout the day. And I hear we got a famous dog coming in. As well. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
Is it yours?
No, Callie sleeps in.
Okay.
So, and I don't think TB, I'm going to ask him about his dog. I don't think it's going to be his dog, Ace, but I think we know whose dog is coming in.
Okay, very good. By the way, 6-time all-time here in Salt Lake City. And we got this note from Paul Kirk, who's always great with tidbits and notes, the outstanding media relations head for all things here at the University of Utah. The University of Utah now one of 9 schools in the country that have hosted both shows in the same year. Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. And most of those schools are SEC schools and a couple of Big Ten schools. So Utah creating a new little number for itself in the Big 12.
That's really impressive, and that's a tribute to Whit and the staff for having a team that is one that people want to see, one that want to be around, and to our fans. Because listen, you don't show up, they don't come back. And our fans always show up.
Well, the reason they're here is because the game is one of the best games on the docket on Saturday. It's Utah. We're ranked 24th in the country, 6-2 overall, 3-2 in Big 12 play coming off that huge win over Colorado in Cincinnati. And it's funny, you alluded to Cincinnati a little bit, but it feels like every year in every conference, there's one of those schools that nobody really talks about much early in the season, and here they come, and here they come, and here they come. And I think Cincinnati might be that school right now. They're 7-1 overall, and they're 5-0 in the Big 12. And they're literally one play away from being undefeated. They threw an interception in the end zone in their opener against Nebraska and Kansas City. Mark, they've had a really good year.
Yeah, they really have. I actually saw that game and that play you alluded to. Otherwise, they had them, and they've just gone on a tear. And it's tribute to Scott, their coaching staff. They've done a really nice job there. They've got some really dynamic players on both sides of the ball. The quarterback is one that we're going to really have to contain him and all those other stuff. But listen, our guys are up for the task. They recognize that everything's still out there for us. We can have a great season. And to play a team that's undefeated in the league at home is a great opportunity to shine. We got a bye after this. We're going to just lay it out on the field, take a deep breath for a tad bit, and then get back at it. But great Cincinnati team coming in. This is not a Cincinnati team of last year, to your point. They got, I think, 50-plus transfers from a lot of great places, and they've come together really quick. They're really good.
Both these schools have played football for over 100 years. And it's the first time they've ever played against each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. You think along the way in a bowl game or something. So let's go. Why not now?
By the way, kudos and congratulations. How about Bird Ficklin, a true freshman? Now, we've seen Bird play a little bit and kind of mop up duty at the end of some blowouts, but he steps on the field against a good Colorado team and looks like he's been playing college football for 4 years. He ended up being named Offensive Player of the Week and Offensive Freshman of the Week in the Big 12.
Whenever I see these freshmen shine in any sport, I go back to 1987, where I was a freshman and couldn't even figure out how to buy lunch. You know what I mean? Like, where do you go? What do you do? And I was thinking about him when he was warming up. I'm like, he's going to play in front of, 52,000 plus people on a national television, and he's a true freshman. But he certainly didn't act like it, and he doesn't act like it off the field too. He's a leader. The guys love him. I love talking to our seniors about him. And both those quarterbacks, they just get along so well, which is great. And a tribute to the team for these kind of blowouts that he was able to get on the field, right? Otherwise, that would have been a really difficult situation. So Bird's great. He's got a great family, and we're just really happy to have him here.
Give me a quick big picture thought on the Big 12 as we sit on the precipice of the month of November, where everything gets decided in college football.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. Second year there, obviously you better be ready to play. It sounds a little cliche. Some schedules might be a little bit easier than others, just like we see in these other big, large conferences that we're now experiencing, coming from the old days. We all played the same 9 the last few years. So I think that what we're seeing is a lot of really good coaching and a lot of really good athletes. NIL era has really spread out talent and in every conference, and it's certainly spread out talent in our conference. But it's a fun conference to compete in. Talking to our guys, they really like competing in it. But the saying coming in was there's going to be a lot of parity, and that's certainly what we've seen. Outside of a couple, and Cincinnati's one, and some others that certainly have taken care of business on every Saturday. But there's some really good teams in this league.
Bowl eligible now, the Utah football.
Yes, sir.
Is this when we begin to see the guys with the funny sport coats show up in the press box?
Oh, they're showing up. They've been showing up, and I tell you, everything's changed except for those coats. They're still just as pretty as ever. Listen, you can't take bowl eligibility for granted. We obviously have high aspirations here at the University of Utah and all our programs, but postseason is so important. And after missing it last year, pretty good moment in the locker room afterwards where the guys were doing their little bowling, deals. And we'll see. We know, I think it's important, Bill, I appreciate you raising it, that we're still in the old Pac-12 bowl alignment. We're going to get some more information out that because that's confusing. Wait, what? We're not in the Big 12 bowl alignment. So we'll get some more information. But those are the bowls that we all know: Holiday, Alamo,
Vegas,
L.A., and on down the line, Sun. So competing against, obviously, for those slots with the other schools that are in other places. But we'll get info on that. But kudos to the team to become bowl eligible this early in the season.
All right, a few other thoughts around the department. We're winding down some of the other fall sports. Soccer. Thursday night, they play BYU in their final regular season game. It's been a good but difficult season in some ways. Utah's created more shots than any other team in the Big 12 Conference. They've just had a trouble finding the back of the net, but they can end their season on a high note against BYU.
Yeah, as we tape BYU's tonight, and it's been interesting. We because of the schedule that we have both in the Big 12 and out, we're still in the 50s. In RPI. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to get in the tournament. Well, I'll wait and see. But, they got a great chance tonight to improve on that with BYU. And listen, it is difficult. I appreciate the coaching staff and the players because that can be really frustrating. I mean, we shoot the ball at the net all the time. It just doesn't go in, and that's something obviously we have to improve on. We get that, and coach is working on that. But I'm hoping for a good end of the season for them, and certainly hoping for perhaps a tournament.
Volleyball also on the back end. They've got UCF coming in on Friday night. Hit a tough Wednesday night loss against quality Kansas State team, but best team will have a chance to bounce back, get back to 500 against UCF.
Yeah, a lot of youth, a lot of injuries, but a lot of fight. And appreciate, you saw it again last night when we, the way we battled in every game. Certainly was nice to get a win in that third set. But, I think it's one of those things where, coming off a hosting season last year, we lost some students, we gained some students. But I think in this transfer era, sometimes a couple of injuries can really knock you. And I think that, there's not excuses, but it's just reality. But the good news is we're playing a lot of young players, and they're proving their stuff too. But we still got a lot of games left, and see if we can make a run here.
Kyle, by the way, that match on Friday night will be on ESPN+. Krista Blunk and Linda Byington will have that broadcast.
Wear your costumes, come down and support the volleyball team. Let's go.
They will put on a good show for you. Cross country. Boy, Kyle Kepler's side is so good. They're number 18 in the country right now. They're going to the Big 12 Championships Friday in Lawrence at Rimrock Farm. But here's the crazy thing. The Big 12's loaded, too. Yeah. This is a really good cross-country conference.
Yeah, it really is. Great athletes, great coaches in this conference. I assume, Bill, that you've hung out at this place they're running?
It didn't exist. That's how old I am. You were talking about 1987. I was a freshman in 1988 in Lawrence, and Rimrock Farm did not exist.
Rimrock Farm didn't exist. No. I'm sure you could go out there and run around, though. It just nothing was there. No, I mean, listen, Kep's done such a great job, and his staff, and we obviously had a phenomenal year last year. We're having the same kind of fall this year, so it'll be exciting to see how they do this weekend.
And we're hosting NCAA Mountain Regionals here in Salt Lake City coming up in a couple of weeks out at the Regional Athletic Complex.
Yeah, we always try to put in for that stuff. Our runners don't get to do a lot of stuff here, so we're excited to be able to host for them.
And Garrett Clegg and his guys wrapped up a really solid fall season. They're ranked 15th in the country right now. Finished up 11th in a really tough matchup at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we had a couple guys that got there right before the tournament that were in Singapore, of all places, competing. And so maybe we weren't at fully open eyes and going, but we fought our tails off. We came back and really excited about the golf team they had. At one point, they were ranked first in the country with their data, and finished in the top 20 in the fall is great, and it tells you we got a big spring ahead. Yeah,
they're going to have a good season coming up. By the way, if you want to keep track of all the Utah athletic teams, football, basketball, we'll talk some basketball coming up a little bit later on. Just go to UtahUtes.com. You can get all the rosters and stories and information on all the fall sports and soon-to-be winter sports that will be beginning soon here. Speaking of winter sports beginning soon, men's basketball, we're going to have Terrence Brown coming in here in a sec.
Yeah, he is phenomenal. I can't wait for people to get a chance to get to know him.
TB coming up next here on Hear It From Harlan. Stay with us. For tickets, apparel, team schedules, and more, visit UtahUtes.com, the official website of Utah Athletics.
Well, this is going to be really fun. We get a chance to introduce to our Ute community just a phenomenal student athlete that showed up to our campus earlier this summer. Terrence Brown, the pride of Minneapolis, Minnesota, coming in from FDU, where he had a phenomenal freshman year. I was looking at some of your stats, TB. It's impressive. But we are fortunate to, after you had a lot of suitors, to come and join us at the University of Utah. So let's start there. You obviously had an incredible freshman year, right, which I'm sure you worked your tail off to have that kind of a season. And then you had opportunities. What was it about Utah that really sold you to come?
I'd definitely say, the change of atmosphere. Me being in Minneapolis, Minnesota, my senior year of high school, and then finishing high school, I went to a prep school in California in Napa. So I'm going from the Midwest to the West Coast. Then after my prep school year, doing my freshman, sophomore year at FDU in New Jersey, I just wanted to change the atmosphere in a new place to call home where I can, get used to, but also be different with being able to be comfortable with change. So obviously, Coach Jensen and the whole staff came to me during the transfer portal process and explained their pitch. And obviously, they had a good pitch because it was good enough to get me here. So.
Yeah, I remember I was obviously in the coaching search that we went through here last year. I remember when they were on to you and they were so excited, and especially when you committed. We had a chance to spend some time together the other night. You were one of our keynote speakers to all our donors that support scholarships and just support our efforts here. And I thought you did a phenomenal job about your story. Just a little bit about what basketball has meant to you, your family, your mom. I mean, I thought it was an incredible story.
Yeah, just really, I had the honor to be able to speak in front of everybody who provides for us to make us able to come to the University of Utah, and that really means a lot to me because growing up, I really didn't have the stability and things like that, Even last year, me being at FDU, I had to, text my mom or text somebody close to me after some games to get some food because I didn't have any money. So that's really, what made me really want to speak. And when our whole staff and everybody provided me the opportunity to do it, that's when I really put a lot of thought into it and just chose to explain my whole side of things. And that's where it was really heartfelt for me, and it felt like home after speaking in front of all the student athletes and all the donors.
Yeah, I've had a couple of our student athletes. I was down at football practice yesterday, and a couple of them talked about what you said. So I really, really appreciate. Kind of reminds me and everybody that works in a college atmosphere that we get to spend time with folks like you. And so it was awesome that you shared your story. I did like the part when you said, "Hey, these mountains," right? Because you got little mountains in Napa, maybe more vineyards than mountains, of course, but obviously. And then you mentioned that where you live, you got a great view of them, right? So you're downtown, you're loving that, right?
Yeah, I wake up every morning, I can see the U. The U that we light when we win games, I could see that every morning. I could see the mountains. The mountains look even crazier with snow on them. So it looks like unreal.
You had a little break in Napa from the snow, but it's coming in, man.
Yeah,
it's coming in. Well, before we talk about the team and how you guys are doing, you also have you have a puppy that some of us got to meet when we had media day on campus. So talk to me a little bit about your pit bull Ace.
Ace, he's like a son to me. That's really why I bought him. Coming out here in Utah, I try to limit my resources, but limit distractions. So without having to go out or anything like that, just focusing on basketball. And then when I come home, have somebody to lean on, whether I have a good or a bad day, knowing I can come home every single day and see somebody like him. He just brightens up my day.
I'm the same way, man. I got an 11-year-old Labradoodle. If I have a bad day, she doesn't care. Yeah. She just wants to pick up the ball and run around. Well, we appreciate getting to know your story. Let's talk a little bit about the team. You guys have been busting your tails all summer. The rules have changed over these last few years where you really get to have some team practices, which is great because we obviously have a lot of new guys. We have a new coaching staff. So you guys are just coming off 2 exhibition games, which I thought were great games, right? Obviously, we didn't win them, but they were both very competitive. Talk a little bit about the 2 games you've played so far, and maybe a little bit about Eugene, because I thought that was interesting. You guys fell behind early. It was a real full crowd there, but you guys fought back, and it was a really close game once you guys caught up to them.
Yeah, I feel like just approaching the season, we've had a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, we came in the summer. We lost Baba, which was a key part of our team, and that was a key part of me. When I played, I leaned a lot on Baba because he was an older guy. So we lost Baba, and then we had a few injuries going into Nevada with Don, and just really had to adjust, playing without those guys. So I feel like our aggression, our team's individual aggression is all there. I think we just got to put it all together so we could start gelling. And then going into Eugene, I feel like we really needed that going into the regular season. Obviously, we played Nevada, but then going into a Big Ten matchup, us being in the Big 12, I feel like Big Ten and Big 12 are the 2 top conferences other than SEC. And the Big Ten is really aggressive. It's a real aggressive conference. So us going into that game, they were super aggressive, fighting through screens. They had a lot of taller guys, 7-footers sitting on the basket. So it just had us really go against adversity for the first time. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of adversity in Nevada. We didn't come out with that game, but I feel like we played really well that game. So starting off that game, just going through scoreless for the first 7 minutes, I feel like that was just testing us as players, and just we had to overcome some stuff. And then obviously the second half we played really well. Without that first 10 minutes, I think it was 56-53. So
I read the same thing, and I obviously talked to coaches about it. And for them, this is a team, right? You guys are all coming together. It's college basketball right now. Who comes together? Who plays together? More about team than individual, all that kind of stuff. But when you don't score a point for that long, people can really break.
Yeah.
And Alex was really pleased how you guys actually just really, really fought back. So you got to be excited, right? Here comes the regular season. You guys got a few more days to prepare. So between now and Monday night, what's the team going to do to get ready to start off the season?
I feel like just approaching practice every single day. Like I said, after the game on Friday, we came back into practice on Sunday, and everything I was saying on Sunday was just approaching things with humility. Obviously, we didn't have the outcome we wanted. We lost. So, like I said last year, I played at FDU. I told them after both games that we lost, I said, the scoring, I did the scoring last year. And obviously, we all want to go to the NBA, but you got to win to do that. So you could have all the stats, but you got to win the game. So I feel like just approaching everything with humility and approaching it like we haven't done anything will just make us strive even more to get even better. And, Coach Jensen, I feel like he approaches everything like that as well. He's done a lot here in Utah, but he approaches everything like he can get better. He asks us for our feedback every single day. He says, don't be afraid to speak because he can learn. He's a first-year head coach, so he can learn too. So that's what I really respect about Coach, and that's why I respect him so much and the whole staff.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it because Alex does say that stuff. He goes, hey, I'm going to learn on this deal, right? I've been in the NBA for a while. There's a real narrative around this staff from our fans, and I think I sense it, but it'd be interesting to get your take, kind of an NBA atmosphere. Obviously, you're dreaming of playing in the NBA, but, you're fortunate in Salt Lake. You're getting to know a lot of these NBA guys that come through. You've got relationships in the NBA. Is that, obviously you have the school. That's a big difference. You got to go to class. You got to do all those things. But do you feel that environment here with the nutritionists and the facilities? Do you really feel like this is a great place for you to develop?
Yeah, for sure. I can speak on my side. Obviously, the other team, they can speak on their sides, but they're coming from high majors. I'm coming from a mid to low major, so I didn't have any of this. So this is like heaven on earth, I'm coming here from a small school. We didn't have nothing in our training room, so I'm coming here. We have a nutritionist. We got a strength coach specifically for us that doesn't work with any other team. We got individual coaches that take us to the side, watch all our film with us every single day. We got player development plans on the screen. We look over and just speak about what we need to do specifically to be better as a player. I feel like all that just matches up to the NBA. And then obviously our facilities, our practice facility, our weight room, our on-campus life. I feel like all of that just matches up. Our fans, everything. I feel like all of them check the boxes, and our fans are just really diehard. That's why I really like Utah, and I really love the state.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's we have a great fan base. You'll see they'll grow as the season goes on, and I'm sure you've enjoyed. I've talked to a couple of your teammates about a lot of days. You got NBA teams walking down the hallway to go use your facility, and they talk about this is better than what they have back at their professional.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's obviously gratifying for all of us here. Well, listen, obviously, we're really excited to have you here. We really appreciate everything that you've brought. I'm sure a lot of our fans that came to the Nevada game, obviously you had 27 points, 6 assists, which is incredible, and had another 15+ at Oregon. So maybe we'll close with that. You're a point guard. You're the quarterback out there. You're trying to make sure everyone's involved. You're very vocal out there, which I love. You have high energy. So when you're out there, points and assists and rebounds, all that stuff's important. But I imagine you're really trying to make sure that your team is all in. So just a little bit about your leadership style and what we're going to see when we come and watch you this year.
Yeah, just really being vocal. I just really want to focus on the things that Coach and Chill and West, they all tell me that I would need to improve on. Obviously a lot of schools and a lot of coaches will tell you everything you're good at, but they really emphasize the things that I need to work on, whether it's coming into practice, just uplifting my teammates. That's what I really want to do, and telling them even if they miss next shot, that's what I really want to do, just improve on my leadership role and my point guard role. I could score, but I want to just become that point guard and that leader to help us win and lead them to where they want to go as well. Because Coach says every good team starts with a point guard, and that's why he was so hooked on me when he came to me in the transfer portal. So that's what just trying to put up to what he says.
Yeah, well, that's great. But I got to ask you one thing before we go. You've been in Salt Lake now. You've been through the season. You got a little summer. You got a little fall. But a lot of the basketball guys have always been foodies, man. You guys are always looking for different places. Do you have your go-to place for dinner?
Yeah, I go to STK. I go to Capitol Grill and Cheesecake Factory.
There it is.
I go to them threes.
Cheesecake Factory, the largest menu in the history of time. I used to work there. I can tell you they made us memorize it back in the day. TB, thanks so much for taking the time today. I know you got class, you got practice, and you got a game coming, so I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Follow the Utes on social media by searching for Utah Athletics on all social media platforms. What a great kid. I mean, I told you earlier, I've had a chance to really get to know a lot of these new faces, new guys on the team this year. And Terrence Brown, TB, who you just talked to, he's just top notch. He's just a kid that's not only a great kid, he's a really good basketball player, but he's so excited to be here in the new environment. And, he played at a lower level school at Fairleigh Dickinson a year ago, and you can hear him talk about, we didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't have all this stuff. I didn't have coaches coaching me on the side. We didn't have sports, medicine and nutrition and all that stuff. He's just a great kid who's genuinely appreciative to be here.
Well said, Bill. And I think that what I like about the opportunity to talk to these student athletes, which I get to do every day, but for us to have a chance for the public to listen in, is to see what you said, that how grateful he is. And I think sometimes there's just this, NIL this, NIL that. He's being compensated within the rules that we're now under, and he's fulfilling a dream that his mom has for him, and he was able to really articulate that more deeper in a scholarship that we talked about, where he just talked about basketball has changed his life. He's pursuing his degree. He's just is a warm young man. I'll keep an eye on the dog, rest assured, because he's got road trips. I asked him off air, right? Who's taking care of the dog when you're traveling? I got it covered. I got a great roommate. And so, he's great. And I really think the next time we have this session, you and I'm sure we'll talk about him even more, because I think he's going to be a dynamic athlete. He's going to lead this team. And I think this team is just going to get better and better as we go.
Oh, they had an exhibition last Friday night against a really good Oregon team and got off to a slow start, but they battled. That was the thing about this team. They kind of hung in there and battled. And I think Alex wanted an opponent that was a really good opponent, because he knows he's going to see about 15 other ones when you get into Big 12 play.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant what he and Wes did and chill on the schedule. I mean, Nevada was here first, right? They're in the tournament on most years. They didn't make it last year, but they were previous. And Steve Alford's a good coach, so to battle them down the stretch. And then, like you say, the Oregon, that was always a place in the league, was always a tough place, whoever you were. Dana's up there doing his thing. I loved how we fought back. That was really, really good to see, because a team like that, as TB and I talked about, could have just said, hey, what are we doing here? But they fought all the way back and didn't win, but they learned a lot. Unfortunately, they're battling some injuries. I wish we were full speed heading into the start of the season, but we're going to get healthier as we go along.
Yeah, they were picked 13th a week or so ago in the preseason poll for the Big 12 Conference, which the Big 12 had 3 in the top 10 and 6 in the top 25 and like 4 others that were receiving votes. So it's going to be a wagon of a league this year. But just your thoughts on this team heading into the season?
Yeah, I feel like they've done all the work. They're being coached really, really well. I'm really proud of Alex and the way he's come together. He's very public about not trying to take shortcuts with this program, because that's what we're building. You can still build programs in the era of NIL, I can assure you. And he has gone about doing that. His staff he assembled a great group of men who are really leading. And I appreciate everything that they've done. I think their scheduling was very strategic. They know that it's a challenge ahead. I think we have a chance to gain some confidence in this scheduling process that we've done. And eventually we'll get to, what did the commissioner say? Outside the NBA, this is the second best league in America. That's true, if you think about it. And so a tremendous amount of NBA players come from this league. So we'll see what happens, but I know they put in the work, and I think our fans are going to be really proud of their effort.
The regular season opener for everybody is Monday night at 7 o'clock at the John M. Huntsman Center against Tim Miles and the San Jose State Spartans. You know San Jose State. You worked there once.
I did. I remember it was famous for the garlic fries. So you'd walk into the arena there, and that's all you would smell. And I remember that. I don't know if they'll bring them with them. Probably wouldn't, but listen, Tim Miles is a great coach now. I mean, he had some great Nebraska teams, and he's kind of flipped that program around.
Well, that's kind of his MO. He goes in and takes reclamation projects and turns them. He did it at CSU,
right?
He did it at Nebraska too, and now he's going to try and do it at San Jose State.
Yeah, he's a good coach. It'll be a nice opener for us, and really hoping everyone, after the big weekend we have with game day and football, everything that we talked about in our first conversation there. We really need our support for men's basketball. It just helps us win, and Alex is back, got a great team, great bunch of guys. Look forward to seeing everybody on Monday night.
And by the way, everybody wonders, updates, parking, and all that stuff. Go to UtahUtes.com. There'll be plenty of game day information posted there, so you can get anything and everything you need regarding parking and ticketing. And you can also go to the Utah 360 app as well. There's information on there, too.
And Bill, if you don't mind, it's good news. We had over a 90% renewal rate. We're really grateful for that. We've also sold a lot more tickets than we have in the past, so I'm very grateful for everyone that's coming back. We encourage more. We have great packages, too, if the season's too much for you. So take a look and join us this year.
Single game tickets, non-conference ticket package, and Big 12 ticket packages are all available as well. through the Utah ticketing department. Women's basketball also opens up on Monday. Gavin's team, it's the elementary and middle school kid day. It's a unique crowd for sure. They'll open up against Sioux Falls 11 a.m. Monday morning, and you'll be able to see that. And if you're coming to that game, and you're not used to the shrieking of children awesome. On a regular basis, it will be a different experience, but a good opener for them at 11 a.m. Monday.
Yeah, I've had a chance to go to more than a few of their practices. A lot of new faces out there, which is fun to see new folks, integrating into the system, combined with some great vets that are on their way back. And I just love Gavin's energy. You go out there and watch him coach and his staff, and obviously it's a team that has been in the tournament 4 straight years. We've set a real high bar here, and can't wait for them to get after it. They were like all our teams, learned a lot about being in the Big 12 last year, what it's all about. You're right. I love this event on Monday because a lot of these kids have never been on a college campus, and they're just, they're getting off the bus and they're running in circles, and we have to get them into the arena before they run all over the place. And wait till the Utes hit that first basket. You just won't hear anything like it all year. It's awesome.
And coming up in a couple of weeks, they've got a really good early season test. Oh, we're just going to go back to Connecticut. Now, not to Stores, but they're going to the Mohegan Sun. Yes. And they're going to play Gino Auriemma and UConn.
Yes, so some people ask, was that Lynn's parting gift? Kinda not, but Gavin had a chance to – he's like, no, let's go. And how awesome is that, though? I used to compete against those guys a lot when I was at South Florida, and that's quite a thing when you go play Gino and that team. But what a great experience. It's kind of like how we've gone out and played at, South Carolina. We've gone out and played those guys. We've done things to get us better, to see what the very, very biggest stage is. And no matter what happens, it'll make us better.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to play a couple of games first, get a couple of games knocked out under your belt. You've got the Big 12 season coming up. Why not go measure yourself on the road against maybe the best program in the country?
Absolutely. So, again, kudos to Gavin. We knew we lost a lot of students from last year's team, but that's a good way to age people fast. Go out and play a team like that.
So the women and men both open up on Monday. The women at 11 a.m., the men at 7 p.m. And all your information you need on the broadcasts and the ticketing and all that stuff could be found at utahutes.com. Okay, one last thing. If you drive down Guardsman Way or you tailgate anywhere over there during football season, you've probably seen the beautiful new baseball stadium rising up. The turf's gone in. It's going along. So give us an update on what it looks like.
Well, it's going along really, really well. Just really impressed by everybody that's involved with that, whether it's Leighton Construction, whether it's all the folks that helped design it, and certainly our internal team led by Gavin Goff and Jason Grieco, everybody that's been involved, along with the coaching staff. Everybody kind of worked hard. The guys are practicing. They love the new surface. Seems like I'll go away for a couple of days on meetings or whatever, and something new will have popped up. Right now, all the brick, you can see it on the facade there as you drive by on Guardsman. Brick was a big part of what we wanted to do, and it looks great. Now they're spending a lot of time in the best parts, I think, it's just the practice area, the hitting bays. We're working on our final date on when we'll do our grand celebration opening. We're all set to host all our games in there this year because of the great work that I mentioned. But big step for our baseball program, and so appreciative of America First Credit Union and certainly Charlie Monfort and so many others that really leaned in and made this happen for us.
Gary Henderson is like a kid getting ready for Christmas, seeing those presents under the tree. He can't wait to get over there and play that first game this spring.
We had some of our seniors come down, Cord Jackson and a couple other guys, on the field last week to honor them. And they're like, Mr. Harlan, that field is amazing. I'm like, sorry, boys, we didn't get it done in time for you guys. They're like, no. It just can be so fun to come back and be in there and watch. Or CJ was here, and he went back there, and I see him at the game the next day. He goes, are you kidding me? He also helped us build this with a great donation. And so it's cool. It's cool to see people know that we care about baseball here. We're going to be playing in a great baseball conference, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be sold out a lot, and I get these questions, and I'm getting on our external people about this. We will be talking about how to get tickets and all that stuff here very shortly.
Yeah, we're still ways away, but that will be coming along nicely. Excellent. Have a fun weekend this weekend with game day in town and Cincinnati and all that stuff.
You got a lot of games, voice. Let's don't talk to anybody. Walk by everybody. Keep your Don't talk to Bill, and if he doesn't talk back to you, he's just trying to do his job. But Bill, appreciate all your work, and appreciate everybody who I'm sure I'll be seeing all weekend long.
That's Mark Harlan. Thanks to Nick Boulderjack for producing this thing today. I'm Bill Riley. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you at any and all venues this weekend, from game day to the football stadium to some of the volleyball and soccer stuff too. And until we do our next podcast for Mark Harlan, I'm Bill Riley saying, go Utes. This has been the Hear It From Harlan podcast. Make sure to follow Utah Athletics and listen all year long as we keep you up to date on the Utes.